Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
Welcome back to Outlaws and Gunslingers, and it's time.
It's time.
It's 30s time.
it's Public Enemy time. Who was the Public Enemy? What was their names? Brasco and
Public Enemy was
what the fuck were their
Rocco
names?
Rock and
Rocco
fucking
Rock
Johnny
and,
Grunge.
Yeah.
Pretty sure they're both dead now.
Are they?
Just like the two subjects that we're about to cover here today.
Did they die the same way?
Well, I certainly hope not. But we made it. 1930s / Great Depression / Public Enemy era for a minute, for the first few years of the 30s anyways.
All right.
And you know, always starting out with a bang. We told you guys for the last 4 or 5 episodes, Bonnie and Clyde is going to be our first
Well, here it is.
ever episode on the 30s. Coming in, we ended Prohibition with pretty much everybody's story that we could. There's still stories out there that we're still considering, even in the Wild West era, we're still considering putting out, little 10-minuters just on the little people that didn't have their lives documented as much as these guys did. So look for that in the near future. Maybe it's a side thing. Who knows? But for now, Bonnie and Parker.
Bonnie Parker.
Bonnie and Parker and Clyde and Barrow.
Clyde and Barrow. There was 4 of them at one time, guys.
Right. Bonnie and Clyde, the fucking most infamous boyfriend and girlfriend murderers until
Besides Mickey and
Mickey and Mallory came along. But dude, Mickey and Mallory, that's fucking such a great movie.
We're definitely gonna have to throw this in here.
What, Mickey and Mallory?
Yeah, throw it in somewhere. Not in this show, but I don't even think it was real, was it?
Of course it's not real.
That's what I'm saying.
So why would we throw them in there?
Might as well. Well, we're gonna do a separate show called fucking
Fake criminals?
On-Screen Outlaws and Gunslingers.
Outlaws and Gunslingers
On screen.
on the silver screen.
On the screen.
Silver screen.
All right, silver screen Outlaws and Gunslingers.
Right.
Sounds good. I mean, we already got Outlaws and Knife Slingers coming up. So
Well, do we?
we don't know.
We don't know. Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie Elizabeth Parker.
We all know them as criminals who traveled the central United States with the Barrow Gang during the Great Depression, robbing people, killing people.
What
They had a bunch of-
really was it a barrel gang though?
Well, yeah.
They're just,
Clyde was the leader. Just like it was the James Gang.
I guess.
They were riding with his brother Buck, his wife Blanche, Raymond Hamilton, W.D. Jones, Joe Palmer, Ralph Foltz, and Marvy Methvin. Where did I get Marvy? Henry Methvin, amongst many others.
Nice.
And as usual, with a lot of what are they? I don't even know the word for it. The most popular characters. They were heavily exploited in the media back then for their so-called crimes, and some of them are myths as well, which we'll get into.
A lot of them about Bonnie are myths.
A lot of them about Bonnie are myths, which we'll get into as well. The funny thing is, we might know of them all as bank robberies, but they actually prefer to rob small stores and rural gas stations. Like, fuck those bank robberies. They robbed about a dozen of them, but it killed at least 9 police officers, several civilians, until that fateful day on May 23rd, 1934. We've all seen the pictures of the bullet-riddled car.
Right. Which, did you watch The Highwaymen with Costner?
I never made it to the end of that movie.
Costner and
Woody
Harrelson? Yeah. No, and it shows actually what you just said there. Robbing little stores and shit like that.
Right.
It's good stuff.
Never made it to the end. I only made it to right when they first started tracking them, and then I think I fell asleep.
Oh, and it gets good after that.
No,
I think
I'm sure it does, but it was like an hour to get to the fucking part where they first started tracking them.
I think it's like a 2.5 hour long movie.
Because Kevin Costner's wife's like, "No, don't go."
Right.
He's like, "I have to." She's like, "No."
Didn't him and Woody's character didn't get along with each other or something?
Of course. And then they'd be like, "Oh, I love you guys." But I don't know. I've never seen the end of it, but
I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I watched it.
But as usual, we're going to take you to the story. We were going to do originally Bonnie, a whole episode on Bonnie, a whole episode on Clyde, but it's not a lot about these guys when they were growing up. All we know really about them is their exploits through robbing and killing. So we'll take it away. You're going to see the real story of Bonnie and Clyde and a bunch of myths that people are known to that have been passed down, I guess, throughout the years that just never happened. So
You know how it goes.
You know how we know how we do it.
Well, you got we'll start off with Bonnie, obviously, ladies first. Bonnie Elizabeth Parker was the second of 3 children, born in Rowena, Texas, to Charles and Emma Krause. Parkers. Dash Parker or Krause Parker? So, her mom's name was Krause, and her dad's name's Parker. Or was it Krause Parker?
It's just Parker, man. I'm sure the chick's name was Krause, yes.
Right. Anyway, she was born October 1st, 1910. When she was just 4 years old, her father passed away, and the family moved to Cement City.
Cement City?
If that's how you say it, I don't know. An industrial suburb known as West Dallas.
Now known as West Dallas, yeah.
To live with her grandparents. So she went out there to live with her old grandparents. Mommy couldn't do it anymore, I guess, huh? In her second year in high school, Parker met a boy named Roy Thornton. And the pair dropped out of school and were married on 25th of September in 1926. Aww. 6 days before her 16th birthday.
She was 16.
He was
only
18.
16. But I was too young to know. Yeah, we were in love.
Right. However, their time together was brief, as Thornton was physically abusive, and the two had several brushes with the law. 1929, Thornton was sentenced to 5-year prison sentence for robbery. And Bonnie was like,
my
you know
mama
what?
told me you weren't no good. I mean, my grandmama anyway.
Right. She's like, I go back to my grandma. And she did. She moved back in with grandma. She would never see Thornton ever again.
Once again?
Yeah. She would never see Thornton again.
Or once, yes,
right?
I guess.
But they were never divorced.
Uh-oh.
And Bonnie was wearing Thornton's wedding ring when she died.
Maybe Clyde had some weird-ass fetish. He was like, don't take that ring off, bitch.
Right.
Don't take that ring off. Well, speaking of Clyde.
Well, they were, even if they were, like, fucking around, they're like, dude, you got to go by the law or God or whatever. You're married. You can't take that shit off. That shit was, like, sacred back then.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
A little more. They were fucking killing people. I don't think a wedding ring fucking mattered.
Yeah, but it did.
I mean, I guess it did to her. But speaking of Clyde, he was named Clyde Chestnut Barrow and was born into a poor farming family near Tellico, Texas,
of course,
which is a town just southeast of Dallas. On March 24th, 1909, it's about a year older than old Bonnie. He was the fifth of 7 children of Henry Basil Barrow and Kumi Talitha Walker. They eventually moved to West Dallas in the early 20s, at first living under their wagon. These motherfuckers were poor.
Wow.
Well, Clyde was first arrested in late 1926.
Same year
that 17 years old. She was getting married, and
he's going to jail.
He's going to jail after running when the police confronted him over a rental car he had failed to return on time. He was arrested again when he and his brother Marvin Buck Barrow were in possession of stolen turkeys.
Oh, no.
Barrow had some legitimate jobs during 1927 through 1929, but he also cracked safes, robbed stores, and stole cars at the same time. So This guy never really ever
motherfucker was one of the first,
left the life of crime.
Motherfucker was one of the first boosters, man. Damn, gone in 60 seconds, gone in like 3 hours and a half.
Gone in 780 seconds.
Right. It's going to take a while, guys. I got to crank.
They're probably going to see me.
I got to work the choke. And
they're probably going to see me because it's so fucking smoky.
Right. And then I'm going to have to kill the fucking owner because he's going to hear this shit.
Right.
And then probably the rest of the family because the car still ain't going to start by then. And then I got to wait another 15 minutes.
It was just cranking while people are coming out of the house just fucking shooting the shit.
And then I got to wait another 15 minutes for it to warm up.
Good thing there ain't no phones.
Right. It's going to be a while, guys. Several accounts describe Parker and Barrow's first meeting.
Several accounts.
The most credible states that they met on January 5th, 1930, at the home of Barrow's friend Clarence Clay at 105 Herbert Street.
Clarence Clay, that guy just sounds like he was a success.
Right. 105 Herbert Street in the neighborhood of West Dallas. Barrow was 20 years old. Parker was 19. Parker was out of work, staying with a female friend. She was assisting her friend recovery of a broken arm. Like, I don't think you need to really assist with a broken arm.
I mean, chicks had to do a lot back in the day, so she probably couldn't wash clothes and do anything.
The clothes they had to wear.
Right.
No way. You need like 5 hands to put them fuckers on.
Those fucking girders or whatever the fuck they're called.
That's why I always fucking, when I'm watching like a Western or shit like that back in the day, and you see them about to do it to a guy and a girl, you know, right? He's like, it's going to take about fucking 15 minutes for these guys to get their clothes off. I wonder how many times by the time they got their clothes off, they was like, well.
Right, like, man, I just don't feel like it anymore.
This ain't a good idea.
I wonder if a lot of them had like built-in flaps you could just throw down.
Right. It had to have been, right? Easy access. Nudity during sex fires wasn't a thing until like the 40s, 50s. Anyhow, Barrow dropped by the girl's house while Parker was in the kitchen making hot chocolate.
Okay.
Both were smitten
We're
immediately.
smitten.
Most historians believe that Parker joined Barrow because she had fallen in love with him.
Wow.
Most. I mean, come on.
I would have fucking assumed why else would you?
Obviously. Idiots. Their romance was interrupted when Barrow was arrested and convicted of auto theft.
Come on, Barrow. You didn't fucking learn? Well, apparently Bonnie was so smitten with him because while he was in jail, she smuggled a gun on March 11th, 1930, and he and his cellmates escaped.
Whoa.
However, freedom would be short-lived as they were captured a week later. This time, Barrow was sentenced to 14 years of hard labor.
Oh, shit.
And sent to the Eastham prison farm in
How long
April
was he sentenced the first time?
I didn't say.
Oh. So he's going to...
He's going to a labor camp, like they're literally fucking digging railroads and all that shit.
14 years. What an idiot.
Well, while in prison, Barrow used a lead pipe to crush the skull of another inmate, a man named Ed Crowder, who had repeatedly sexually assaulted him.
Whoa.
This was Clyde Barrow's first killing. However, another inmate serving a life sentence took the blame for him. He's like, you know what? You're a young guy.
So how do they know this guy was sexually assaulting him? I like to know that.
So they asked other prisoners. He probably did it right in front of everybody.
Like, what was going on? This guy kept putting his dick in his butt.
Kept ramming his ass.
He kept on sticking his penis in that guy's ass, and he was like, no! And he overpowered him, and he did it at least 12 times. That was the first day.
Did you think back then they wouldn't tolerate that shit anyways? But you fucking deserved it.
Right. Well, Barrow then convinced another teammate. I guess they would be, right?
They did some teammate.
Right. Barrow then convinced another inmate to use an axe to chop off 2 of Barrow's toes in order to excuse him from working hard labor in the fields, causing him to limp for the rest of his life. But Barrow could have saved his foot, and had he known that his mother was pensioning a release for him.
Pensioning?
Oh, petitioning, sorry. I'll get a pension. Can I set a pension for my boy gets out in 14 years?
So he chopped his toes off.
Not knowing that mommy was getting him out.
Mommy was just fucking about to get him released.
Right. Just 6 days after losing his toes, the petition was granted.
Oh, no.
He was paroled on the 2nd of February, 1932. Leaving prison, a changed man.
Yeah, I would say 2 less toes.
Right.
And a wider asshole.
There was one inmate, Ralph Fultz, Fults.
Yes, sir.
Would say he watched him change from a schoolboy to a rattlesnake.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
And his sister said, something awful sure must have happened to him in prison because he wasn't the same person when he got out.
Well, after Barrow's release from prison in February 1932, he and Fultz began a series of robberies, primarily of stores and gas stations.
All right.
Their goal was to collect enough money and firepower to launch a raid against Eastham Prison. Jeez. Really hated them for making him chop off his own toes. Right. On April 19th, Parker and Fultz were captured in a failed hardware store burglary in Kaufman in which they intended to steal firearms. Parker was released from jail in a few months after the grand jury failed to indict her. Fultz was tried, convicted, and served time. He never rejoined the gang.
Okay.
Look at Bonnie getting in there robbing some fucking stores. Where the fuck was Clyde?
30th of April, Barrow was the getaway driver in a robbery in Hillsborough, during which store owner J.N. Busher was shot and moited. Doesn't say who moited the guy, but Busher's wife identified Barrow from police photographs as one of the shooters. Well, I thought he was the getaway guy, although he had stayed inside the car.
Right.
Parker wrote poetry to pass the time in jail.
This is while Bonnie's in jail.
Oh,
too,
Bonnie's in jail.
Right.
Well, Bonnie's in jail. She's writing poetry,
which a lot of it would be discovered and
it would
published after she died.
She reunited with Barrow within a few weeks of her release from the Kaufman County Jail.
Yes, sir. Well, then on August 5th, Barrow, Raymond Hamilton, and Ross Dyer were drinking moonshine at a country dance in Stringtown, Oklahoma, when Sheriff C.G. Maxwell and Deputy Eugene C. Moore approached them in the parking lot. They had a parking lot? I guess
Why would they approach them, though?
Barrow and Hamilton opened fire, killing Moore and gravely wounding Maxwell. Moore was the first law officer that Barrow and his gang had killed. They eventually murdered 9 altogether. We said that. On October 11th, they allegedly killed Howard Hall at his store during a robbery in Sherman, Texas, though some historians consider this unlikely.
Right.
He's probably not in the area at the time. But why is that even in here?
Right. The FBI.
They ask.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. And the FBI, well, then called just the Bureau of Investigation. The FBI became interested in Bonnie and Clyde in December of 1932 through a singular bit of evidence. So all they had was this one little piece of evidence, and it was a bit. It was a Ford automobile, which had been stolen in Pawhuska, Oklahoma. It was found abandoned near Jackson, Michigan in September of that very year. I don't know about Bonnie and Clyde being in Michigan, though.
Oh, they were.
At Pawhuska, it was learned another Ford car had been abandoned there, which had been stolen in Illinois.
Well, search of this car revealed it had been occupied by a man and a woman, indicated by abandoned articles in the car. Also in the automobile was a prescription bottle, which led special agents to a drugstore in Nacogdoches, Texas, where investigation disclosed the woman for whom the prescription had been filled was Clyde Barrow's aunt.
Oh.
Further investigation revealed that the woman who obtained the prescription had been visited recently by Clyde, Bonnie, and Clyde's brother L.C. Barrow. It was also learned that these three were driving a Ford car identified as the one stolen in Illinois. It was further shown that L.C. Barrow had secured the empty prescription bottle from a son of the woman who had originally obtained it. The FBI was now on the hunt for Bonnie and Clyde after all that. So like one little prescription bottle, they were pretty careless leaving fucking shit in the car unless they had to just get up and go.
Probably had to. Or just careless, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. W.D. Jones had been a friend of Barrow's family since childhood. He joined Parker and Barrow on Christmas Eve in 1932 at the young age of 16.
Clyde came in and was like, honey, I got a Christmas present for you. She's like, oh my gosh, what is it? He's like, a new gang member.
She's like, I fucking love it.
She's like, yay.
I fucking love it.
I'll write a poem.
Right. And the three left Dallas that very night. The very next day, which was Christmas Day, 1932, Jones
guy.
and Barrow murdered Doyle Johnson, a young family man, while stealing his car in Temple.
Poor guy. Poor Doyle Johnson.
Barrow killed Tarrant County Deputy Malcolm Davis on the 6th of January, 1933, when he, Bonnie, and Jones wandered into a police trap set for another criminal. The gang had murdered 5 people since April of that year, so that was just a couple months.
No, since April of 32.
Oh, the year before. So that, just
about
under a year.
Under a year, 5 people. I mean, it's pretty not as big of a body count, but it's 5 people
in under a year.
Right,
pretty decent.
Yeah, that's one every 2 months. That's pretty. That's called serial killers.
Yeah, and they're just like pointless murders.
All right. On March 22nd, 1933, Clyde's brother Buck was granted a full pardon and released from prison.
Oh, nice for Buck.
He and his wife Blanche set up housekeeping with Bonnie, Clyde, and Jones in a temporary hideout at 3347. 3347 and a half Rundown Avenue. At 3347 and a half Oak Ridge Drive in Joplin, Missouri.
Duplex then, huh?
I would assume so. According to family sources, Buck and Blanche were there to visit. They attempted to persuade Clyde to surrender to law enforcement. The group ran loud, alcohol-fueled card games late into the night into the quiet neighborhood, and Blanche recalled that they bought a case of beer a day. That's it.
Like that?
The men came and went noisily at all hours, and Clyde accidentally fired a bar, which is a gun, in the apartment while cleaning it. No neighbors went to the house, but one reported suspicions to the Joplin Police Department. Yeah, about the old pill bottle being left in the car. Sounds like they're pretty fucking reckless. They just don't give a fuck.
Right. I mean, I'm getting that.
They're kids, 20 years old.
Not even, yeah.
21 years old,
right.
Fucking partying and just whatever, dude.
And they haven't learned because they've been doing it for the past, 4 years.
Right. Well, 2.
Since they're young. At least 17.
Yeah.
17,
Since he was
16.
17 was first arrest.
And they just haven't grew up. Even getting fucking busted 100 million times.
Well, sounds like a certain guy I know.
Right. The police assembled a 5-man force in 2 cars on the 13th of April to confront what they suspected were bootleggers living in the garage apartment. Okay. The Barrow brothers and Jones opened fire, killing Detective Harry L. McGinnis outright and fatally wounding Constable J.W. Harryman. Parker opened fire with a bar.
What is it with everybody back in these days using their initials and nobody says their real name?
Right.
J.W. Harryman. Like, can I be
what the fuck is the full term for a bar? It's like a sawed-off shotgun or something like that, isn't it?
It's a Browning automatic rifle.
Oh, okay.
Browning automatic rifle is family of automatic rifles and machine guns. So he had the machine gun.
Oh, yeah, it's basically, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Good stuff.
Fucking up shit.
Oh, it's basically a 30-06.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, where we at here? Parker opened fire with a bar gun as the others fled, forcing Highway Patrol Sergeant J.B. Kaler.
GB.
Right. Oh, G.B. Kaler to duck behind a large oak tree.
Well, yeah, that'll save him.
So his name is probably George Buchanan.
George Barry or something.
Right.
Well, the .30 caliber bullets from the bar struck the tree and forced wood splinters into the sergeant's face. Parker got in the car with the others, and they pulled in Blanche from the street where she was pursuing her dog, Snowball. Stupid bitch. The surviving officers later testified that they had fired only 14 rounds in the conflict. One hit Jones on the side, one struck Clyde, but was deflected by a suit coat button, and one grazed Buck after ricocheting off a wall. These guys are running around fucking wounded. At least the WD is.
Well, the group escaped the police in Joplin, but left behind most of their possessions at the apartment, including Buck's parole papers. 3 weeks old this was. See, that's the stupid part when they have to fucking run. They can't come back, and now everything's there, so now they know for sure this is who we are.
Yep.
You fucking morons. A large arsenal of weapons.
This point,
oh, my.
At this point, it's only going to end how it ends. There's no other ending for this story but what happened.
Yeah, there's none. Well, they left Buck's papers for parole, a large arsenal of weapons, a handwritten poem by Bonnie, and a camera with several rolls of undeveloped film, which is probably all kinds of shit on there.
Most of them is what you see of Bonnie and Clyde, right, in any picture you've ever seen of them.
Right. Police developed the film at the Joplin Globe and found many photos of Barrow, Parker, and Jones posing and pointing weapons at one another.
These guys were fucking just like, dude, I swear.
The Globe sent the poem and the photos over to the Newswire, including a photo of Parker clenching a cigar in her teeth. So that's how they thought she was smoking a cigar. Which it wasn't. That's it's unproven myth. Hypothesis.
Would be a myth.
Would it be a myth?
It would be a myth.
But it's still not proving that it's still nothing to say that she didn't.
Maybe.
Well, and a pistol in her hand. So she had a cigar in her teeth and a pistol in her hand. Was she wearing a dress, at least?
I'm assuming so.
And the gang of criminals became front page news throughout America as, you guessed it,
the Barrow Gang.
Yeah.
The photo of Parker posing with a cigar and a gun became popular. Oh, this is what the newspaper said. After the photo became popular, they said John Dillinger had matinee idol good looks and Pretty Boy Floyd had the best possible nickname, but the Joplin photos introduced a new criminal superstars with the most titillating trademark of all, illicit sex. Clyde Barrow and Bonnie Parker were wild and young and undoubtedly slept together.
Oh, damn.
Basically calling Parker a whore.
Right. See, this said it made Pretty Boy Floyd and John Dillinger happy, though, because it took some of the heat off of these guys.
Well, at this time, John Dillinger was public enemy number 1, which we'll get into both him and Pretty Boy.
Right.
But
it does take it off because
But look how they describe him. Wild and young. Exactly what the fuck they've been characterizing throughout what we've seen so far.
They should just call them ignorant idiots.
Right. Young, dumb, and full of cum.
At least Bonnie. And maybe Clyde. Oh, Clyde definitely was.
I'm sure some of it he was still shitting that shit.
Son of it still.
He was still shitting that shit out for fucking
Right.
years.
I mean, your intestines are mild.
When they did autopsies on him, they found the fucking DNA from that guy in him still.
That's how they knew, right?
Right.
Little half-born babies. I don't know how, since there's no uterus or anything, but it'd be a colon can create children if you put it up there far enough.
I don't know. That's pretty fucked up. Be a shit baby.
Right.
So it sounds like fucking Jim Leahy. That's a little shit baby, Randy.
It's going to be a shit storm. Anyway, the group ranged from Texas as far north as Minnesota. So these guys from Texas all the way up to Minnie for the next 3 months. So they're just all over the fucking place nonstop, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, in May, they tried to rob the bank in Lucerne, Indiana. And rob the bank in They tried to? Did they do it?
I don't think so.
They didn't get the one in Lucerne, but they robbed the bank in Okabena, Minnesota, though.
Okay.
Anyway, they kidnapped Dillard Darby and Sophia Stone at Ruston, Louisiana.
What the fuck names are these?
Right.
Dillard Darby and Sophia Stone.
Right.
Like, holy shit. These sound totally made up.
Right. So they kidnapped those guys because they're trying to steal the car, and they must have put up a fuss, so they had to throw them in or whatever. I don't know.
In Ruston, Louisiana, another made-up sounding name.
In Ruston, Louisiana. This was one of several events between 1932 and 1934 in which they kidnapped police officers or robbery victims. Jeez. They usually released their hostages far from home, though. Sometimes with money to help them return home.
Look at those guys.
It's like, hey, dude, we didn't want to have to do it. If you just fucking
needed the fucking car.
If you would have just fucking left the fucking car, you'd have been good. But now we had to drive you fucking 200 miles from your home in the middle of nowhere. They haven't invented phones yet.
Oh, dude, how much do you think they?
Were there phones in 1926?
Of course. Why? How much do you think they? How much do you think they fucked with them before, like, letting them go? Like, I'm gonna fucking kill you now. And they threw money at him. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, it depends on how sick they were. I want to hear.
Pretty sure they were fucking pretty sick.
Well, was there any stories of these two that they put out? You think there would be like an autobiography how we survived Bonnie and Clyde?
Right.
How would you not?
Do you think so, right?
You would fucking think so.
Right. Stories of such encounters made headlines, as did the more violent episodes. Okay, here we go. The Barrel Gang did not hesitate to shoot anyone who got in their way, whether it was a police officer or an innocent civilian. Other members of the Barrel Gang who committed murder included Hamilton, Jones, Buck, and Henry Methvin.
So if they're known not to, to shoot anybody that's in their way, no matter what, so why did they take hostages when they did? If they're willing to take out somebody that's in their way,
dude, they're young and fucking wild. They're probably like, oh, let's get this fucking guy. And who knows if they raped the chick and did what to the guy?
Very
who
true.
Fucking knows? Who knows?
That is very true.
Well, eventually, the cold-bloodedness of their murders is what opened up the public's eyes to the reality of their crimes, and eventually led to their very bloody end.
The photos entertained the public for a bit of a time, but the gang was desperate and discontented. Is that how you say it? Discontented?
Yeah, man.
That's a stupid
They're not
word.
Content.
I
They're
get
discontented.
it. I get it, but that's a dumb word.
But they're discontented.
Right. As described by Blanche in her account written while in prison in the late 1930s. With their new notoriety, their daily lives became more difficult, obviously, as they tried to evade discovery.
Yeah, I mean, when you got a fucking crime scene through the middle of America, it's a little hard to just run around, you know?
At first, they could hide their faces or they didn't let anybody survive to say what they look like. And then they're leaving shit behind.
Right.
And they're idiots. Idiots. Restaurants, motels became less secure. They resorted to campfire cooking and bathing in cold streams. The unrelieved, round-the-clock proximity of 5 people in one car gave rise to vicious bickering.
Right.
Turning on each other.
That's the thing that people, right, they're sitting in a fucking hot-ass car for hours on end, 3 in the backseat, elbow to elbow.
And then in the 20s and 30s,
right,
with their cars are very tiny anyway, you can maybe fit 2 in the backseat comfortably.
Yeah.
Maybe. Anyhow. Jones was the driver when he and Barrow stole a car belonging to Darby in late April. So they wanted another car. They're like, fuck this shit. We need 2 cars. And he used that car to leave the others. No, he's like, fuck this shit.
Well, the car that they stole from
funny.
The Darby guy and Dillard Darby and Sophia Stone, that's the car that they're talking about. And then he eventually used that to fucking just leave. He was like, fuck you guys, dude. Fuck you guys. I'm getting away from this fucking fucked up gang.
Right, they had the other car, and he decided to take this one. Yeah, I get it.
Then he left.
Right, he left. He got that car, and he was like, fuck this, I need to go. And he left for what month were they in? April. He left for 2 months.
A couple months. Well,
came back on June 8th.
Barrow failed to see a warning sign at a bridge under construction on June 10th.
Oh, no.
While driving with Jones and Parker. Now Jones comes back and this shit happens.
Right, instantly.
While driving with Jones and Parker near Wellington, Texas, and the car flipped into a ravine. Sources disagree on whether there was a gasoline fire or if Parker was doused with acid from the car's battery under the floorboards. Ooh. But she sustained third-degree burns to her right leg so severe that the muscles contracted and caused the leg to draw up.
Oh, no.
Jones observed she'd been burned so bad none of us thought she was going to live. The hide on her right leg was gone from her hip down to her ankle. I could see the bone at places. Damn. She got that shit burnt. That sounds like an acid burn. That don't sound like a fucking
yeah. And
fire.
these words that this Jones guy wrote down later in his life or something, obviously since they're in quotation marks.
So, right, that's his quote. So
I'd like to read his
autobiography.
Right, or whatever he has. I'm sure that if they have that, they have more.
Could have been a statement to the popos.
I doubt they talked to the cops.
Dude, he got caught.
Parker could hardly walk. Hardly.
You think? Hardly.
She shouldn't even be able to stand up. She either hopped on her good leg or was carried by Barrow.
No.
Oh, when it first happened, that's what you're saying? Okay. Damn. This bitch is strong.
I'm sure she was carried by Barrow.
I bet she wasn't that good looking either.
Oh, there's a couple pictures of her. Decent.
I think I remember, but I really... Okay. Oh, yeah, I do know. Yeah.
Everyone has faced the problem. What gift to choose? What to give yourself when you sit at home? What to give your friend or parents? What to give your wife or husband? What to give your children or colleague at work? Well, Unidragon and their wooden puzzles has this problem solved. Why do people love Unidragon puzzles? Well, each puzzle piece has its own unique shape. It's interesting for adults and children. Each puzzle is packed in a premium wooden gift box. So no flimsy cardboard tearing, the edges fall apart. You know how it goes. New puzzles are released every month, and they have an incredibly colorful design. You will not regret checking this product out. Not only is it an excellent and unique gift for others, but it can be a gift for yourself. There's no better gift than one for yourself, right? They're perfect for a nice, relaxing afternoon, and figuring out the puzzle will help keep your mind sharp. So you can go to unidragon.com and use the code OUTLAWS for 10% off your order. They got pretty cool looking wolf. The animal ones are pretty sweet. They got a wolf one, a fox one, a lion one. And the best thing about these ones that I really like is every shape of the puzzle is a shape of a different animal. So you're kind of figuring that out. It's not just boring little puzzle pieces that you got to try to fit together, and they're made of nice, sturdy wood. They also have ones you can get a big map of the world and hang it on your wall, a big wooden one, and pin out your destinations you want to go. They got everything that anybody could ever want for a puzzle, anything that you would ever need. So it wouldn't be too hard to find a puzzle for somebody you love or even for yourself for those rainy days. So head on over to unidragon.com for the most unique, creative, and challenging puzzles out there, and use the code OUTLAWS and let them know we sent you and get that 10% discount.
They got help from a nearby farm family, then kidnapped Collinsworth County Sheriff George Corey and City Marshal Paul Hardy, leaving the two of them handcuffed and barbed wired to a tree outside of Eric, Oklahoma. So, at least they didn't kill the farm family. You know?
We don't know that.
Well, they would have. All right. Damn. You think they did?
I don't think they did. They would have said it probably.
It's fucked up if they did. It'd be like the last house.
Well, they got help from them. I don't think they're going to kill somebody that helped them.
The guys from the last house on the left were gonna. No, they didn't until they realized daughter was there.
Right.
That's right. Dumb bitch had to come back. She would have came back like 10 hours later. She would have been fine. But their guts hanging out. Oh, no, that was the other one that had the guts hanging out.
Made her pee herself. Well, the other one ended up dying in the fucking river anyway, so.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, was that the daughter? Or no, then she came back from that, right?
Yeah, she came back.
And then the mom and dad, like, chainsaw the other guys to death or some shit?
Oh, they fucked up. No, my mom did. I think the mom did. I don't know about the dad.
Yeah, I think dad might have died.
But the girl was laying on the table. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it was. That's right. I remember now. Gruesome.
Casey, baby.
Well, the new one wasn't as good as the older one.
Never saw the new one. Don't plan on it. But you got to watch the director's cut of Last House on the Left, though.
I haven't. I wanted to.
That's the one where you, like, actually...
They show more gruesome shit
They
in the
spend, like,
woods.
5 minutes pulling the intestines out of the fucking one chick. Yeah.
Wait, they show all that?
Fuck yeah, dude. He's, like, pulling it out of her.
Yeah, they didn't put none. They put a little bit of that in the new one. The three rendezvoused with Buck and Blanche and hid in a tourist court near Fort Smith, Arkansas, so Parker could get with their burns, man.
Do you want to try? Do you want to try the Southern accent?
She has to get with burns.
She has to get
right with her burns.
She got to get with her burns.
Anyway, yeah, that's what he did. And there's old Parker's burns. Buck and Jones bungled a robbery and murdered town marshal Henry D. Humphrey.
See, that's a good band name.
Henry D. Humphrey?
No, well, maybe. Buck and Jones bungled a robbery. I would fucking have that as a band name.
Right, that's too much to say.
Why? Y'all seeing BAJBAR tonight?
Right.
BAJBAR. It's Badge Bar. You guys seen Badge Bar tonight?
Seen Badge Bar? They murdered it in Elma. So much that Henry D. Humphrey was there. Anyway, at this time, Buck and Jones bungled a robbery and murdered town marshal Henry D. Humphrey in the city of Elma in the state of Arkansas. The criminals had to flee despite Parker's grave condition.
Obviously, he can't stay here no longer. In July 1933, the gang checked into the Red Crown Tourist Court south of Platte City, Missouri. It consisted of 2 brick cabins joined by garages, and the gang rented both of them.
Right.
To the south stood the Red Crown Tavern, a popular restaurant among Missouri highway patrolmen, and the gang seemed to go out of their way to draw attention.
Obviously.
Are these guys fucking retarded? Blanche registered the party as 3 guests, but owner Neil Hauser could see 5 people getting out of the car. He noted that the driver backed into the garage gangster style for a quick getaway. Damn, so nobody... I bet you that's a thing, too. Nobody fucking... Who's going to back their car into the garage? They're just going to ride it up. He's like, yeah, only criminals fucking back away then, for quick getaways like that. Yeah, good observation by old Neil Hauser.
It's great. Blanche paid for their cabins with coins rather than bills. And did the same later when buying 5 dinners and 5 beers. The next day, Hauser noticed that his guests had taped newspapers over the windows. Blanche once again paid for 5 meals with coins.
What the fuck are these guys doing?
Her outfit of jodhpur riding breeches also attracted attention. What is jodhpur?
It's probably fucking... It's the ride-in breeches for horse riding and stuff, or car riding or something.
They were not typical attire for women in the area so these guys are out-of-towners. They're backing their cars in. They're paying with coins, right? Not a lot of people paying coins in 1930 something. That's that's a Wild West thing, Wild West.
Jodhpurs are tight-fitting trousers that reach to the ankle, or like riding fucking trousers, Well,
she's ready to jump on a horse whenever she needs to, so.
Well, they didn't even take horses.
Well, if she needs to, she's good.
I don't understand why she's wearing them, but I would say that attract attention.
Well, everybody else be bitching because their shit's riding up.
Guys are fucking idiots, taping wind or newspaper over their windows. Like, that's not going to get you fucking attention.
Right.
What the fuck? Not one of these people in this gang had any fucking common sense.
Right. Well, anyway, that's the number one thing they remembered. This chick, she had these horse riding material clothes on. It attracted attention from everybody that was around. They were not typical attire for women in this area. And the eyewitnesses still remembered them 40 years later.
But hey, man, you remember that woman about 40 years ago came in there riding or getting those Jodhpur riding breeches?
And them fellas, they back that car right in like they're ready to load.
Fucking gangsters.
Ready to get out of the fucking air. Shit quick. Shit quick.
Shit quick.
Get out of there shit quick. Hauser told Captain William Baxter of the Highway Patrol, a patron of his restaurant, he was like, "Guy, hey, buddy, let me tell you about this group that just came in.
There's
some weird motherfuckers that just pulled up in my shit.
They're fucking newspapers over the windows.
Fucking nuts. This bitch is wearing horses.
Horses. This bitch is wearing horses shoes and like what the hell?
This bitch is wearing horses.
All you hear is clink, 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 clink. Poor little tink, tink.
All right, bitch is wearing horses clothing, and we haven't seen a horse in 20 years.
Right. I thought those things were dead. Well, Barrow and Jones went into town to purchase bandages, crackers, cheese, and atropine sulfate to treat Parker's leg.
I mean, if there's three things you got to have is bandages, crackers, and cheese.
Right. And atropine sulfate to treat burns.
That's a bonus.
The druggist contacted
How
Sheriff
often
Holt.
do they have burns?
Probably a lot.
Well, now Parker's leg is a burnt leg for life.
The sulfate is to treat her leg.
Right.
I don't get what you were getting at there. Well, the druggist contacted Sheriff Holt Coffee, who put the cabins under surveillance.
They're like, this motherfucker just came in for some cracker cheese and some fucking burn cream.
Some burn cream, pretty much, right? He's like, that sounds a little suspicious.
Weird.
Right. I don't know. They're going to wrap each other in bandages and burn cream and eat crackers and cheese about doing it.
Or wrap the crackers and cheese in the burn cream and bandages.
Right. Maybe it was like a... Right. Well, Coffee had been alerted by Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas, as Dang said.
Nice.
Law enforcement to watch for strangers seeking such supply.
Wow, they want to say who is buying this shit and where.
Right.
Nice.
The sheriff contacted Captain Baxter, who called for reinforcements from Kansas City, including an armored car.
Oh, shit. Armored car.
Oh, shit. Shit's about to get real here. Sheriff Coffee led a group of officers towards the cabins at 11 p.m. armed with Tommy guns, baby. Here's the Tommy guns.
They're like, Bonnie and Clyde, say hello to my little friend.
Like, Cubans aren't here yet.
Right. They're like, what the fuck is that? All right. In the gunfight which ensued, the 45 caliber Tommy gun was no match for Barrow's 30 caliber.
Well, they had more than one.
Right, they had more than one, but
they all were armed with Thompsons.
Right. They were no match for Barrow's 30 caliber, though.
Nope.
Which was stolen on the 7th of July from the National Guard Armory at Indeed, Oklahoma.
Apparently, there's no story on that.
Right.
These guys just pulled off a fucking gun robbery at the National Guard Armory.
Right. That's fucking nuts.
July 7th, and where are we at here?
That was a while ago. He said he had this gun long.
This is in July of 1933 that they're here.
In the beginning of the show, they said he had this gun.
Right. Maybe it was a different one, though. Because they left around. He left. Maybe. Remember, they said that in that one place, they left a bunch of weapons.
Well, the gang escaped when a bullet short-circuited the horn on the armored car, and the police officers mistook it for a ceasefire signal.
Oh, no.
They did
talk about fucking luck.
They did not pursue their retreat in Barrow vehicle.
Fucking talk about luck.
They watched these guys get in the vehicle and drive away, and they're like, what do we do? Like, well, the horn's going on.
A random...
The horn's going on the armored car, so...
A random fucking bullet hits a fucking horn, and everybody's like, oh, that means ceasefire.
So is this a real...
Well, the gang had evaded the law once again, but Buck had sustained a bullet wound that blasted a large hole in his forehead, skull bone, and exposed his injured brain, and Blanche was nearly blinded by glass fragments in both her eyes. Wow. Yeah.
Wait a minute here. Buck had sustained a bullet wound that blasted a large hole in his forehead.
Skull bone. So his forehead was fucking exposing his brain.
Wow.
And she was nearly blinded by glass fragments in both her eyes.
The Barrel Gang camped at Dexfield Park, an abandoned amusement park near Dexter, Iowa. And that was the 24th of July that they did this. Buck was sometimes semi-conscious, and he even talked and ate. Damn, motherfucker's eating and talking with the brain exposed. But his massive head wound and loss of blood were so severe that Barrow and Jones dug a grave for him. Oh, no. Local residents noticed their bloody bandages, and officers determined that the campers were the Barrow Gang.
What, did they fucking hang him on clotheslines to dry him out?
I don't know what's going on here.
Had to have. I mean, probably had to reuse the bandages.
And plus, they see somebody digging a grave.
Right. I mean, like, what are these guys doing?
Digging a grave for that guy.
Well, local police officers and approximately 100 spectators surrounded the group, and the Barrow soon came under fire.
Oh, shit.
Barrow, Parker, and Jones escaped on foot. Literally for Parker. Buck was shot in the back, and he and his wife were captured by the officers.
Okay.
Buck died of his head wound and pneumonia after surgery 5 days later at King's Daughters Hospital in Perry, Iowa.
Damn. He still lasted 5 days after getting shot in the back. Nice.
Dude was shot in the head, exposing his brain, then got shot in the fucking back, and dies from pneumonia, pretty much, actually.
Yeah, he got an infection, yeah.
Right. Wow. They fucking completely...
Fucked Buck up.
They completely hung Buck and Blanche out to dry, though. The gang's like, fuck you guys, bye.
They would have done the same thing.
Probably.
Right. For the next 6 weeks, the remaining perpetrators ranged far afield from their usual area of operations, so they got the fuck out of there.
It just took you this fucking long to figure it out?
Right.
Go to a new area.
Right. They went west to Colorado, north to Minnesota, southeast to Mississippi, yet they continued to commit armed robberies. Idiots. They restocked their arsenal when Barrow and Jones robbed an armory at Platteville, Illinois on August 20th, acquiring 3 assault rifles from
they love those
Browning.
bars.
Yeah, the bar guns. They got some handguns and a large quantity of ammunition, obviously. Nice. So these guys were like, you know what? We're ready.
Right.
But they're like still staying around that area.
Wow.
They're like circling around their fucking idiots. I mean, how far can you go, really?
This has really proved to me how stupid these fucking Bonnie and Clyde were, to be honest with you.
Dumb.
Well, by early September, the gang risked a run to Dallas to see their families for the first time in 4 months. Fucking morons! Jones parted company with them, continued to Houston where his mother had moved. He was arrested there without incident on November 16th and returned to Dallas. Through the autumn, Barrow committed several robberies with small-time local accomplices, while his family and Parker's family attended to her considerable medical needs.
Oh, she still needed it. This bitch
course,
is fucking
man.
hurting. Takes a long time.
Let's say,
Long time.
skin's literally got to grow back over her bones.
At least a year, right?
Jeez.
22nd November, they narrowly evaded arrest while trying to meet with family members near Sowers, Texas. Dallas Sheriff Smoot Schmid. Damn. That was a name.
Sheriff Smoot Schmid.
Yeah, it was a fucking crazy name. Deputy Bob Elkhorn and Deputy Ted Hinton. And they lay wait nearby.
Oh, no.
As Barrow drove up, he sensed a trap, drove past his family's car, at which point Schmid and his deputy stood up and opened fire with their machine guns and a bar.
Okay.
Like, they got 3, we got 1.
Why?
We can at least do something right. The family members in the crossfire were not hit, but a bar bullet passed through the car, striking the legs of both Barrow and Parker.
Jeez, their legs cannot fucking recover. She's like, son of a bitch.
Like, son of a bitch, got the other one. They escaped later that night, though.
No. Fucking Bonnie. Her leg is fucked, man. On November 28th, a Dallas grand jury delivered a murder indictment against Parker and Barrow for the killing in January, nearly 10 months earlier, of Tarrant County Deputy Malcolm Davis. It was Parker's first warrant for murder.
Wow, it took that long?
But not Clyde's.
Right. Wow. 16th of January, 1934. Clyde orchestrated the escape of Hamilton, Methvin, and several others in the Eastham breakout. The brazen raid generated negative publicity for Texas, and Clyde seemed to have achieved what historian Phillips suggests was his overriding goal: revenge on the Texas Department of Corrections.
Okay, so he did that, then let's get out of the game now.
He's like, my ass still hurts.
Right.
Motherfucker. The Barrow Gang member Joe Palmer shot Major Joe Crowson during his escape, and Crowson died a few days later in this very hospital.
These guys are just murdering everybody. Well, this attack attracted the full power of the Texas and federal government to the manhunt for Barrow and Parker.
Right.
As Crowson struggled for life, prison chief Lee Simmons reportedly promised him that all persons involved in the breakout would be hunted down and moited. He swore that they would all be hunted down and killed, though. So
he was like, "We're gonna get them all, boy.
I'll get them for you. Don't worry, Crowson."
Right.
He was like, "You get them. You get them bastards for me.
Them sons of bitches.
Get them.
America.
I will."
Right. I will. The Texas Department of Corrections contacted former Texas Ranger Captain Frank Hamer and persuaded him to hunt down the Barrow Gang.
Okay.
He's like, "Come on, Frank." He's like, "I'm out." And he's like, "Come on, Frank. They did some shit. Fucked up our boys."
Fucked up our boys.
He was retired, and he was like, "I'm retired." And they're like, "I don't care. Your commission is not expired yet, though," which means he's still legal to practice law, right? Practice law.
Practice law.
Practice enforcing law. And he was like, "You know what? I think I got to do this, but I don't want to be a ranger anymore. I want to be a Texas Highway Patrol officer." They're like, "I don't even know what that is."
They're like, "Well, we just made it.
I just made it up." Secondarily assigned to prison system as a special investigator as well, and given the specific task of taking down the Barrow Gang. So this guy is dealing with, he was retired, not doing nothing, and then he was like, "Well, I want to know what's going on."
6 other jobs.
I want to be the secretary of what? What was he? He's like the main leader of the prison systems.
Secretary of anything.
Oh, he was a special investigator of the prison systems,
Right.
And he's gonna be the first ever fucking highway guy.
That's what that guy looks like. He looks like he's on for some shit.
It kind of looks like Costner.
Costner has nothing to do with.
Yeah, wasn't that the Kevin Costner character that he played?
Oh, right. Yeah, because his wife was like, "No,
Yeah.
you're retired." He's like, "But I'm still commissioned."
No, Frank Hamer.
Well, Hamer was tall, burly, and taciturn, unimpressed by authority, and driven by an inflexible adherence to right or what he thinks is right.
Right.
For 20 years, he had been feared and admired through Texas as the walking embodiment of the one riot, one ranger ethos.
So he's a badass.
Right.
He's a badass motherfucker.
Well, he had acquired a formidable reputation as a result of several spectacular captures and the shooting of a number of Texas criminals. He was officially credited with 53 kills and suffered 17 wounds. Damn, dude. This guy, that's fucking
That's crazy.
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Right.
Fucking, what's his name?
Who plays him? Oh, Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris ain't got nothing on Frank Hamer.
You ain't getting 53 motherfuckers.
Right.
53 motherfuckers.
And wounded 17 times himself.
Prison boss Simmons always said publicly that Hamer had been his very first choice, although there is evidence that he first approached 2 other Rangers, both of whom declined because they're like, "Nah, I'm not going to shoot a woman."
Frank's like, "I'll fucking shoot that bitch right in her head."
Right. Starting on 10th February, Hamer became the constant shadow of Barrow and Parker on every fucking move they did, living out of his car just a town or 2 behind them. 3 of Hamer's 4 brothers were also Texas Rangers. Brother Harrison was the best shot of the 4, but Frank was considered as the most tenacious. He was tenacious Frank.
Barrow and Methvin killed Highway Patrolman H.D. Murphy and Edward Bryant Wheeler on Easter Sunday of April 1st, 1934 at the intersection of Route 114 and Dove Road near Grapevine, Texas, which is now called South Lake, Texas.
Right.
An eyewitness account said that Barrow and Parker fired the fatal shots, and this story received widespread coverage. Methvin later claimed that he had fired the first shot after mistakenly assuming that Barrow wanted the officers killed. Barrow joined in, firing at Patrolman Murphy. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, most likely.
All right.
During the spring season, the Grapevine killings were recounted in exaggerated detail.
I heard it about Grapevine,
It was very exaggerated in detail.
but all these motherfuckers got killed.
Right. And it affected,
Honey,
it affected the public perception of what was going on. All 4 Dallas daily papers seized on the story told by the eyewitnesses. A farmer who claimed to have seen Parker laugh at the way that Murphy's head bounced like a rubber ball on the ground as she shot him. The story, right. You see that? I remember her laughing, saying, his head just bounced off like a rubber ball when it bounced on the ground. Give me that scar.
It didn't bounce down the road.
You never know.
When it hit the ground, it was probably like, you know.
And rubber ball.
Wouldn't that be crazy if his head actually did that? It was like,
Right. Anyhow, the stories claim that police found a cigar butt with tiny teeth marks on it.
Tiny teeth marks on the
Supposedly
cigar.
those of Bonnie. Well, several days later, Murphy's fiancée wore her intended wedding dress to his funeral, attracting photos and newspaper coverage. The eyewitnesses,
Look at her.
right? The eyewitnesses' ever-changing story was soon discredited, but the massive negative publicity increased the public clamor for the extermination of Bonnie and Clyde and his gang, whoever they were.
Yeah, the public's like, dude, fuck these guys. Look how sad it is.
Right.
That Murphy's fiance wore her wedding dress.
Right.
Her would-be wedding dress to his funeral. I mean, come on. This way to tug on the old heartstrings of Americans, huh? Well, the outcry galvanized the authorities into action, and Highway Patrol boss L.G. Fairs offered a reward of $1,000 for the dead bodies of the Grapevine Slayers. He didn't even say dead or alive.
That's why he only offered $1,000.
You bring them here dead. Not their capture, just the bodies.
Right.
Texas Governor Ma Ferguson added another reward of $500 for each of the two killers, which meant that for the first time there was a specific price on Bonnie's head, since she was so widely believed to have shot H.D. Murphy.
So now they're fucked. Now there's actually money.
Yeah.
Now there's actually money on your head.
There's people looking for her,
Right.
not just the police.
Public hostility increased 5 days later when
Oh, jeez, these guys just don't learn.
when Clyde and Methvin murdered 60-year-old Constable William, his name was Cale Campbell.
Constable Cal.
Constable Cale Campbell, a widower and a father.
Oh, they just had to add that in there, huh?
Right, and they murdered him near Commerce, Oklahoma. Then they also kidnapped Commerce Police Chief Percy Boyd. They crossed the state line into Kansas, and then let him go. Give him a clean shirt, a couple bucks, and a request from Parker to tell the world that she did not smoke cigars. You tell the motherfuckers that I do not smoke cigars. That's so nasty.
Oh, so I did smoke cigarettes, though.
So nasty. Her legs were so fucking burned up. It's like she put cigars out for all of her life.
Right, that's her ashtray.
Right. Boyd identified both Bonnie and Clyde to the authorities, but he never, ever learned Methvin's name.
Okay, well, the resultant arrest warrant for the Campbell murder specified Clyde Barrow, Bonnie Parker, and John Doe. Historian Knight writes, for the first time, Bonnie was seen as a killer, actually pulling the trigger, just like Clyde.
Uh-oh.
Whatever chance she had for clemency had just been reduced. The Dallas Journal ran a cartoon on its editorial page showing an empty electric chair with a sign on it saying reserved, adding the words Clyde and Bonnie.
You know what I think happened here? I think in the beginning, Bonnie was just along for the fucking ride. She was in love with fucking Clyde, and she was demented herself, but not as much as Clyde. And then she got fucked up with the leg. So now she's not a woman anymore, basically, you know. I guarantee that's how it was. Look at me, Clyde. You don't want this. You don't want this. He's like, that's all right, babe. I'll give me something at the bar tonight, but I will take care of you forever. No, but and then after a while, she's like, fuck this shit, and she got gruesome. I think she murdered out of hand like they thought, but she didn't smoke no cigars.
She wanted the world to know that.
Right.
I don't smoke cigars, but I do murder.
But I do think that when she got that leg injury with her leg almost burnt off, that then she was like, no, fuck this shit. We're going down. Everybody
I
wants
can
it.
see that, like,
Right. I think in the beginning, though, she was just...
affecting her. She's probably like,
Right.
look at me. What the fuck? I might as well. Plus, I mean, they just had to escape from the cops 7 different times.
Right.
She already got that shit happen. Got shot. Her
Went to
fucking
prison.
buck died.
Right.
The other bitch got captured.
Yeah, imagine that. She was taking care of him for 2 days with the fucking brain showing.
So, yeah, these motherfuckers, this is only the first part. And these guys are the dumbest criminals.
Ever.
If this was
Ever. Young and dumb.
dumbest criminals of the week segment, this
Right.
would be a fucking segment on dumbest criminals. Because these guys
kidding.
just did every fucking thing and anything to be captured.
Isn't
and
there a
somehow,
TV show on True TV? What's it called? The World's Dumbest?
World's Dumbest. Yeah.
World's
Smoking
Dumbest.
Gun presents.
Right.
Yeah, these guys did everything and anything they could to fucking get captured, but somehow evaded police
Ridiculous.
the whole fucking time and killed more of them on the way.
Ridiculous.
Fucking crazy.
I mean, wow. I'm surprised
Unfortunately-
I'm actually surprised that they lived as long as they fucking lived. It's nuts.
Unfortunately for them, in our part 2 of this episode, we will be obviously talking about the fateful day for Bonnie and Clyde traveling down the road in their, what was it, Model A, Model T,
It was something
whatever the
like
fuck
that.
they were
Yeah,
in.
they were in
The
something.
ambush, the aftermath. And we go pretty in detail about the ambush, how it was set up, and who shot who, what shot what. And then
because they detailed it all. The shooters, the cops are there.
And then the aftermath and pretty much everything else that happened after that, and the influence of Bonnie and Clyde on the sensationalization of pretty much the 1930s crimes like these guys were committing. What's going to happen in this next episode?
Nice, good stuff here, boys.
We haven't even got to the good. We just fucking seen how many. This was another like Wild West type episode where fucking it's just killings after killings after killings after killings after killings
after murder after murder
after fucking murder.
After one bad mistake after the next. I mean, these guys probably would have got away with a lot of the shit they did if it was in the Wild West.
I don't know.
I think so.
Why? Everybody else in the Wild West was getting chased down in posses too. So
that's true.
Yeah, well, they just had cars to do it now.
All right.
So catch up to people a little bit quicker on a horse than on a horse.
Right.
But yeah, that's what part 2 is going to be about. We'll take a look at the shooting, the ins and out of what took place, what happened during, how many shots were fired, what hit where, and of course the aftermath and what happened to the rest of the gang, including Blanche, who a lot of the story would actually come from is from Blanche writing shit in jail about it. So that's where I'll be our next week episode. And then I don't know. Do we want to get right into like John Dillinger and Machine Gun Kelly? I don't know. We'll see in a couple of weeks.
Not yet.
But you guys can go check us out over on the Bang and Dang Show, wherever you get your podcast, where we do pretty much stuff like this. Just shoot off the cuff about shit, stupid news stories and sports and music and whatever else we fucking feel like talking about. Just shooting the shit. And we actually have our first episode out with the new contributor to the show, Cousin Mike. So go check that out wherever you get your podcast. The Bang and Dang Show. We'll be back next week for part 2 of the infamous Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We got a lot of good episodes coming up.
This is the Outlaws and Gunslingers with the Mouth of Michiganders.
We are Bang and Dang.